Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to attempt to build a countertop hutch. So this is what we're working with currently. I helped my parents with the initial renos back in 2020 and installed temporary shelves in hopes of finding an antique hutch, but I never found one I liked. So instead I'm going to attempt to DIY it. Let's get started. So I used my circular saw to cut the strips down to the length I needed. I went to Home Depot and had 3/4 inch by 4 by 8 sheet of sanded plywood cut down into strips of a 15-inch depth. I used my pocket hole jig kit to create 2 pocket holes in each corner for the horizontal boards. I did the pocket holes on the horizontal boards so they wouldn't be seen since they would be at the top and the bottom. After I got all my pieces cut, I used wood glue at the sides and 1 1/4 inch screws to put the pieces together. I used an angle clamp to make sure everything was square and double checked with the speed square as well. I let everything dry for a couple of days. I didn't show this, but I did use 2 long clamps that were placed at the top and the bottom to hold everything in place. Before adding the back plywood piece, I used the shelf pin jig kit to add holes so the shelves could be adjustable. I used a 1/4 inch plywood sheet for the back. I applied wood glue and used my pneumatic nail gun to place 16 gauge 1 inch finish nails. Off camera, I went ahead and put the cabinets in place. I did use the holes that were already in the tile and then just drilled nails to secure them into the studs. There were also studs in the side that I was able to secure the cabinet to as well. And then off camera, I also cut the shelves, and now I'm just adding the face frame and the ceiling molding. Off camera, I used the Bin shellac-based primer and applied 2 coats. I did a light sand between each coat, and then here I'm just applying the paint color, which is Iconic White by Sherwin-Williams, and it's going to be in a satin finish. I painted the shelves and I applied an edge banding on just the front edge to give a more finished look, and then I just used 5mm Kreg shelf pins to place my shelves where I wanted them to go. The final step for this build was making the glass cabinet doors. I started off by using my miter saw to cut 1x3 pine boards to the dimensions I needed. The measurements for my cabinet are 56 inches tall, 36 inches wide with a depth of about 14 inches. I used my pocket hole jig kit to create 2 pocket holes on each side of the horizontal boards. To put the doors together, I used corner clamps to make sure everything would stay square. I then applied wood glue and used 1 1/4 inch screws. After letting the doors dry for about a day, I then used my router to create grooves for the glass to fit into. I wanted soft closed doors, so I went with 1 1/4 Euro hinges for full overlay doors. I decided to purchase the Kreg concealed hinge jig, which made the process go quick, but if you don't want to buy the jig, there are many tutorials online which show you how to do it without one. So here's how everything looks like primed so far. I used the Kiehl's water-based primer. That's what I had on hand, so I used it. And then I also did add an extra hinge because it recommended that if your doors are greater than 40 inches to add an extra hinge. So now I have 3. And then I'm gonna paint next, and I'm using the Sherwin-Williams line from Lowe's, and it's gonna be in the color Iconic White. Also, I did want to note that everything I painted, that includes the cabinet, the shelves, the door, I used a water-based polyacrylic top coat in a satin finish by Minwax. The last step for the doors was adding the glass. I went to a local glass company and had 1/8 of an inch basic clear glass cut down, and they were able to do it the same day. I do suggest calling a few different places for quotes because one place quoted me over $100 for 2 doors, whereas the place I ended up using charged me $40 for 2 doors. Next, I did watch a couple videos to see like the best way to install the glass. Some just use retainer clips along the sides, whereas others would just silicone the entire back. I just ended up doing a little bit of both. So I did 4 retainer clips on each side, and then I used silicone along the top and the bottom. So here's how everything's looking like so far. I did go ahead and install one of the doors. So I'm just showing you how it looks like. So these are just the Euro hinges, and I pre-drilled holes for where I wanted them to be, and then I just put them all in place. And then I'll go ahead and do the other door as well. So here's how everything looks like with the doors installed. I did go ahead and use 1.5-inch hinges on this side just because my fit was a little too close and I didn't feel like having to cut down my wood doors, so I ended up just getting a slightly larger hinge. So it did create a bigger gap, but you can actually go into the hinge right here, and then you can use a screwdriver and push it in more so your gap in the middle will be smaller, and that's what I'll do. But that's how everything looks, and they're all soft close. And then I'll just add some knobs and then put all the dishes and stuff back in, and then we'll be done with this project.